You ever play a fighting game and see someone do this move? This is what we know as TETSUZANKO, literally translated to Iron Mountain Lean, or informally, the Iron Shoulder. If you're wondering why so many fighting game characters have this move, it's a signature technique from a form of kung fu called Bajiquan. But why is this fighting style in nearly every fighting game, and why is it so dang popular? The specific origins of Bajiquan are largely lost to time, but history reveals that the earliest known teacher of Bajiquan was a kung fu master named Wu Zhang in the 1700s, who taught Bajiquan together with its sister style, Piguaquan, as a two-part integrated style before the two forms split and became their own schools. The most famous Bajiquan master in history was Li Shuwen in the 1800s, whose students then went on to serve as bodyguards for China's last emperors and leaders, including Li Chenwu, personal bodyguard to Mao Zedong. Thus, Bajiquan gained a reputation as the bodyguard style. Bajiquan became a staple of Japanese pop culture with the 1988 manga series Kenji by Matsuda Ryuichi, a story about a boy named Kenji who studies Bajiquan and fights other kung fu masters to learn from them and grow stronger. Bajiquan would get its first major video game representation in 1993 with Virtua Fighter, as the style of choice for its main protagonist, Akira Yuki. Since then, Bajiquan began to feature prominently in other manga and video games, and most notably in fighting games. Li Shuwen was most famous for the following quote: "I do not know what it is like to hit a man twice," which is not only totally badass, but is also indicative of the driving philosophy behind Bajiquan's techniques. Bajiquan translates loosely as 8 extremities fist and emphasizes the use of the entire human body as a weapon, not simply fists and feet for punching and kicking, but also elbows, knees, and even the hips and shoulders. Bajiquan is an infighting style with a simple goal: close distance with your foe, crush open their defenses, and strike decisively with explosive power, combining forward momentum and one-hit pushing strikes to blow opponents away in one swift motion. Interestingly, unlike most kung fu routines, Bajiquan routines are practiced moving in a near-perfect straight line, owing to the style's emphasis on direct linear movement. As a result, you can very easily see how this linear style would translate perfectly into a fighting game. Expectedly, Bajiquan characters in fighting games tend to embody the philosophy of Bajiquan through their gameplay. Linear movement that swiftly closes in on an opponent to deliver destructive, crushing blows. As a result, you might see some familiar techniques shared between characters. Shenjiao charging step, dashing elbow strikes, powerful pushing palm strikes, skyward fist strikes, stepping thrust strikes with fist or palm, double snap kicks, stomping. This particular lunging punch. And of course, every variant of TETSUZANKO you can think of. Bajiquan's entire catalog of techniques just seems to fit perfectly in any fighting game, whether it's 2D or 3D. The linear nature of fighting games lines up with Bajiquan's focus on direct linear movement, and Bajiquan offers a variety of strikes to serve many different needs, from close-range power blows for blasting foes off their feet, to long-reaching thrusting punches for controlling space. Plenty of upwards-aiming strikes can serve as a needed anti-air or launching strike, and there are more than enough techniques to close the gap on an opponent across the screen. The aggressive momentum of Bajiquan also lends itself to stringing together long combinations of attacks, which sort of goes against the whole never hit a man twice thing, but hey, it's still cool. As a casual fan of martial arts, I love to see authentic martial arts recreated in fighting games. The world of martial arts can feel somewhat diluted nowadays, with more focus being placed on more practical, full-contact combat like MMA, and leaving more artful styles like Kung Fu by the wayside as a bygone tradition, a cultural relic with no place in the modern world. But fighting games allow martial arts to live and breathe, embracing the fantasy of martial arts and giving it tangible power. Fighting games are a place where martial arts come to life, each one embodying a unique flavor of strength and expression. And this is why I'm so partial to Bajiquan, that satisfying feeling of blistering speed and battering ram strength. The simplicity and beauty of Bajiquan can be felt every time you crash into a foe elbow first, each time you send an opponent scattering across the floor with a well-placed TETSUZANKO. And that's what's really special about Bajiquan characters. It's not just that they recreate the moves, but they also capture the principles and tradition of Bajiquan that began more than 400 years ago and put them into the player's hands. And that's it for today's A.B.I.torial. Be sure to give this video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts about Bajiquan in fighting games. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more content from Sugar Punch. Our channel is supported on Patreon, where patrons get early access to all of our future videos, so be sure to check it out if you'd like to support the channel. I'm A.B.I., and I do not know what it is like to hit a man twice. Or once, really.